Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Carl here, and we're going to be talking about how to think big in business. So, here's the scoop. I am very guilty of not thinking big, and for the longest time, I had the impression that you are subject to what is going on in your life. You are a victim of the results that you've had, and you are where you are because of the decisions that you have made. And I'm here now to tell you that's not true. You can do anything you want in life, and it doesn't matter where you are at. You can always do more. Even when you're stuck and you think there's no way out, there's always another move that you can make. And I can attest to that. For the longest time, I have been trying my best to get ahead, and I kept reading book after book, and still it felt like there was no solution for me. There was nothing I could do to get me to where I needed to go. Then one day, like many days, I have good days and then I have bad days. But I found that the more books that I read, the more smart, the more people that I followed, the better I got at figuring out what kind of belief system I should have. And I think there was this one YouTube video I watched one time with Rob Dyrdek, and he said that the results that you get in life are a direct proportion, and I'm quoting, or I'm paraphrasing, says that the results that you get in life are directly related or proportional to your belief system. And to me, I thought that was very interesting, because you have to realize that where you came from has nothing to do with where you're going. And you set goals, you set expectations for yourself, but it's hard when you don't necessarily think that this is possible for you. So I want to let you in on a little secret, and that is, right now I'm in a good position in my life. I'm in a very good position. And it's easy for me to sit here and tell you, oh, things are really good because I'm doing well. But the truth is, you have to decide for yourself if that's the mentality you want to have. You have to decide for yourself if you're going to live that way and think that, well, all this worry, one day this is all going to come to an end and I'm not going to be worth anything. That sort of mentality is not healthy for you, because what's going to happen when you do fall down? Figuratively speaking, or metaphorically, I don't know the difference. But when you do fall down, you got to get back up anyway. So why not have the mentality that I'm going to get ahead, I'm going to get forward thinking, and I'm going to bounce back? And when you're in that position, you start realizing that, okay, I can't possibly fail. And as you're moving forward, you start realizing that life is very short, and it's important to might as well think as big as you possibly can, because in reality, you are limited to your own thinking. You are the only one who can decide for yourself if you're thinking big enough. So I'm over here listening to different audiobooks and different people, different courses and stuff like that. And it just makes me realize that some of the biggest people that I look up to in terms of financially and who are really pushing the needle forward, they all never stop. They don't just end on one note. They keep adapting and changing and improving and growing and learning. And if you see what I'm seeing here, they don't limit themselves to thinking and what other people have in store for them. And it really does touch me, because I remember, I'm starting to get it now, but for the longest time I didn't think things were really going to happen for me, and it took some momentum from the Marine Corps and from my college degree. It took some of that momentum and some belief for me to realize what is possible. So now I'm done thinking small. I'm all about believing that I can start different businesses, or I can go where my mind takes me. And I want that for you too, because this world is only limited to what you imagine. You got to realize who you're hanging out with. It sucks to be the only one at the end of the night comforting yourself. But if that's what it takes, I don't ever advise being alone, but sometimes you got to get in touch with who you are. And you got to find something, whether it's God, you got to find a friend, someone who loves you more than you. I guess that makes sense. But you got to find comfort in something and trust. I believe that trust is really important. And when you trust that the world is working for you and not against you, life can be so much better. And it's important to really get to the heart of things and how you're feeling. Because some other books that I'm reading right now, they talk about there's the education system that teaches you that your education stops after college or after high school, but that's not true, right? Your education never stops. So you have to believe, right? You have to believe in yourself. You gotta imagine a world in which there is money, but you have to imagine that the real reason behind things is to help others. And when you can serve more people, right? I know serving is kind of a corny word if you came where I came from, and it's not so corny when you think that they don't totally teach that, I suppose, or emphasize that. They emphasize the importance of keeping costs down and stuff like that, and that's all really important. And I never want to steer you away from school, but the truth be told, you have to think of more than just money. Money is not the end all be all. If what really is more challenging than anything is being able to create a life and to create a lifestyle around big thinking. If you look at Richard Branson, for example, someone who I admire and follow, he just goes around and he does what he wants. Or Elon Musk, they just build whatever they want to build. They are working. They're 9 to 5 and whatnot, or maybe more hours, or maybe less. But the reality is they're using human capital, people, to work for them to make their ideas come to life. So it's just proof right there that you don't necessarily have to work by yourself, and that you can facilitate and bring together the people to help make your visualization come to reality. And everything starts as a thought, right? That's important to note, that everything does start as a thought, and that it manifests itself. So you got to think big, right? You have to believe that it's all gonna come together, and it's all going to work out in the end, right? And then enjoy the process at the same time. There is a lot going on in our heads, especially mine, and in order to make this stuff reality, you have to. There's habits that you have to have. There's disciplines that you need to respect and follow. I believe, and everybody's different, but for some, waking up in the morning works really well at winning the morning. And to win the morning, you have to be alone sometimes, I feel, and you have to get in touch with where you're going at in life, so that you can create the space to have big thoughts. How about that? And for me, when you think extremely big, you're allowing, you're doing yourself a service by thinking big and not being small. Thinking small. When I was doing when I had some odd jobs in my day, and it never really felt fulfilling because I didn't value work, I guess, as much. And so I was working jobs. For example, I worked at Einstein Bagels for a very, 6 months or a year. I didn't last very long. But I got another job and another job after that, and I'll always have a job. And like Ashton Kutcher says, excuse me, you're never too good for a job. That, you always get one job and then you get the next, or you don't quit one job until you have another job. You're always moving up, for example, and life is never a straight path, but just because you're at a job that you don't necessarily like or want to be at doesn't mean that you're better than it. It just means that you're experiencing reality, and that is okay. And I want to add that while you're experiencing that job, you want to think as big as you possibly can to get yourself moving in the right direction so that you're going to eventually be a lot more happy with where you're at in life. And it's never going to end. You're always going to want more. I just want to say that when the word thinking big comes to mind, I vision freedom. I visualize the ability to travel and work with people, to come and go as you please, to have enough money to support your trips, your plane tickets, to buy things to get you to places that you need to go. So thinking big for me is that's what that looks like for me. And for you, it might be something slightly different or drastically different. I encourage you to think as big as you possibly can. If it's going to the moon, if it's going and helping or feeding people, whatever it is, I encourage you to go outside of what is expected of you by society and to truly change the world scientifically, however you want it to appear in reality. So my message to you is, again, think big. Think about how much you're going to be proud of yourself for accomplishing something that you never thought that would come to fruition or come to reality. The feeling, how good it would feel to accomplish something that you yourself thought was impossible, and that only faith would make it a reality, and that trust that you have in yourself, I believe, is the most important thing to have in order to accomplish the big thoughts that you have. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast episode. I had a lot of fun making it. I was in a little bit of a hurry this morning, but I do appreciate you listening. If you'd like to support the show, you can go to my Instagram, WolvOfficial, and you can donate there. Also, I sometimes put links in my LinkedIn, where when I post to LinkedIn, you can donate there. The company I use is Donate LY, and they facilitate the payment. Also, you can go to iTunes, and in iTunes or iHeartRadio, anywhere in the Wolf Official podcast in the description, you can donate. I'm going to use the money to pay off my student loans, to pay off my car debt, and that's pretty much it. Once I'm good there, I'm going to be focusing on building a good savings in order to start traveling and making more music, and then starting to create companies and buying businesses and putting really good management in there, and having a better environment for people to work in so they can look at work differently and appreciate the ability to work and to work for others and to grow and learn. So I'm definitely going to use the money. I don't want to just sit on cash, but I definitely want to make use of it. So thank you so much for all your support. I hope you have an awesome day. Think big.